Good morning. I'm Aaron Brinker.
And I'm Tobin Brinker.
And we are on the Brink, the morning show on KCAA AM 1050 FM 106.5 and FM 102.3. I love the song.
It is a fun song.
And it's a great way to get you pumped up in the morning. There's a lot of trucks on the road this morning.
Crazy amount of trucks.
Crazy amount of trucks, which means the economy is still doing fine because people are still purchasing stuff because the stuff on trucks is the stuff that we buy.
Yeah, although I have to tell you, it gets frustrating when you're driving in it.
Yeah, it does.
I thought I was going to die on our way to the station this morning because there was like a little gap between two big trucks, and I was able to squeeze into it, but this other guy also squeezed into it at the exact same time. And so there wasn't enough room really for two of us. So I thought the truck behind me was going to slam into me. I'm like, dang it. I thought I was about to be in a serious crunch.
Well, and if he had just gone, because I passed you by to get over, there was a larger gap that was soon squished by a small, made smaller because another truck was there. Yeah, there were just a lot of trucks on the road this morning.
Yeah, it was hard sort of navigating that. And boy, it's nice to be in studio where it's safe. It's safe in here.
Even though we were a little bit late this morning.
Just running a little bit late, but we were late for a good reason. We had a pregnancy scare.
We did not. I had a dream last night that I was super pregnant, like super pregnant,
and I was super scared.
You were not. First of all, it's an impossibility.
Yes, I know.
I had surgery, so that could not happen. That's not why I had surgery. But I had surgery because, I had tumors. But no, it's a physical impossibility. It cannot happen.
Yes. Yes. I have to tell you, though, as a guy, whenever your wife tells you that she dreamed of being pregnant, you get like this little anxiousness, and you're kind of like, oh no. Oh no. Even though I know you can't get pregnant, it's like, oh, okay.
Oh.
No, I mean, I love kids. Don't get me wrong.
Oh.
I love our kids.
We have great kids.
But we're at an age, and I'm done. Now we're starting to think about grandkids at some point. I'm like, okay.
It is a physical impossibility.
Yes, I know.
So
I'm just letting you know there's like a physiological reaction that men have when their wives say they've dreamt about being pregnant.
But here's the thing. I mean, so I believe that dreams are your subconscious mind working out things that your conscious mind is not dealing with. Whatever. I don't believe it's a premonition or anything like that. But I do believe it's the mind working things out. And I'm like, all right. So what is it that's about that I'm working through?
I know exactly what it was for you.
What?
Right before we went to bed, we were watching that TV episode where the woman talked about being pregnant, and so that was on your mind.
No, it wasn't.
It was.
No, it really wasn't.
It really was, because we laughed about the word.
How do you know what was on my mind?
Because
No, you don't.
I know you better than you know
No, you don't. You're full of it. No, you don't.
Okay.
Anyway, I have my own mind.
There was a seed planted last night. It wasn't a pregnancy seed. It was a seed of a thought.
Would you stop? It's been a recurring dream.
Okay.
It has been.
Well, you're not Hapu. That's all I have to say.
Well, yeah, we were watching. So now people are like, what? The one New Zealander in the audience is going, yeah. So no, we were watching a show called The Almighty Johnsons. So because both of us have been under the weather, and so we've yesterday we were slugs on the couch. That's it. And so we watched the first season of The Magnificent Mrs. Maisel on Netflix. If you've not seen it, it is awesome. It won several Emmys, and I totally get why, because it was really terrific. And then we, after the first season of that, we switched over and watched a couple of episodes of The Almighty Johnsons, which we've seen, but it's a really good show on Netflix. It's these guys from this family from New Zealand that are actually human incarnations of Norse gods. And, it's all a secret. And, one of the youngest brother turns 21. And when he finds out which god he is, he's Odin, which is, the uber god of this mythology. He's Odin. And now he has to go out and find his Frigg, who is the goddess. And then, then
it's a quest, Aaron.
It's a quest. So anyway, and they've all got their personalities. It's really an entertaining show.
It's a crazy premise, though. It makes you laugh. I mean, it's a very well done, sort of smart comedy drama, whatever. I don't even know what to call it. It just defies sort of categorization. It's such a funny show.
It is a great show, and so. But at the end, one of the characters, one of the male gods, impregnates a beach bunny. So anyway, but no, that's totally not what I was thinking. Because I've had this, it's been recurring, and there have been parts in my life where this particular dream or a variation of this particular dream has been part of my life, like a recurring dream. And usually it comes before some big change. So, or something. So I'm like, all right, brain, what are you working through?
Yeah.
So yeah, enough about my dream.
No more dreams.
No more dreams.
So I don't know if you've seen the local paper, but they have an article about some of the local areas that have been closed because of the government shutdown, and it's frustrating because people had made plans to travel to these areas. So, for instance, parts of Joshua Tree National Park,
Yes.
Are closed. Certain trails are closed because they don't have enough human resources because people have been furloughed to make sure that it's safe out there for people to be on those trails. And so they blocked off certain trails. You and I like to go hiking up in the mountains, and so certain trails up in Big Bear have also been closed. But the businesses that rely on those people seem to still be doing okay. Like I think if the shutdown goes longer, maybe some of the businesses will begin to feel the effect. But like the secondary businesses up in Big Bear didn't see sudden mass exodus as people said, "Oh, I'm not going there now because it's closed."
Well, and this is not a big hiking season. People come up to the mountains to ski and to sled.
Yeah,
the resorts are still open.
Yeah.
So, if this were happening in the spring, it would be particularly difficult for our local mountains because of the people come out to hike.
Yeah. So it's just fascinating. So you kind of if you're headed up to the mountains or out to the desert, to any of these areas to hike or do any of these things, you want to check online or call ahead to make sure that the areas you're going to are going to actually be open. You don't want to drive all that way and then get there and find out that the trails are closed and you can't really go. And
beyond the trails, like the example here in this Sun article is the Big Bear Discovery Center is closed because it's run by the National Park Service. And of course, the ranger stations will likely be closed up in that area. And it's disappointing. I mean, it's not devastating, but it's disappointing, especially, if you are traveling from somewhere else and say you wanted to go to Yellowstone or say you wanted to go, to a national park in Utah or Arizona or somewhere. And you're kind of SOL at the moment.
Yeah, well, you think about the big ones like the Grand Canyon and places like that. Those a lot of people go to those locations, and how devastating and sad is that going to be if you planned all this time to go to this big national monument and you get there and it's closed?
So it's day 6 today or day 7? Day 6.
Yeah.
Today's 6. And so, but it doesn't look like, everybody's gone home for the holiday, right? So it doesn't look like that it's going to be taken care of before next week.
We should start a pool like an over-under. When do you think it's going to end?
I'm sure there are those odds in Vegas.
I think it's probably going to February. I would be very surprised if we actually finish this thing up in January. I have a feeling.
Are you serious?
I have a feeling the egos of these people, being what they are in the current political climate, nobody gets along with anybody anymore. Nobody's interested in actually solving problems anymore, right? It's all about scoring points with your base, and so I don't think this ends till February.
I'm a little more confident because, people are going to start getting really upset. I think it goes to mid-January, but I don't know that it goes to February.
Yeah.
February would be a long time.
Yeah. And imagine if you're one of those people who's been furloughed, you're not going to make up that pay. 1/12 of your pay, gone. Boom. Think about that.
Wow.
Do you lose your house? Do you lose your car?
No, you find another job.
What are these folks doing in the interim? And who's going to hire you not knowing when you're going to have to...
Well, let's hope that people have money set aside so their world doesn't collapse.
Well, you imagine they're going to be leaning a lot on family and other folks to help them,
Yeah.
What else are you going to do? And it's always the lowest level people, the hardest hit, because they're the ones that are least likely to be able to have money saved up or whatever, literally living paycheck to paycheck. The top level executives that get furloughed, they're going to be fine, right?
Well, yeah, because they've got money set aside. Well, one would hope. Although, in some communities, keeping up with the Joneses is very expensive.
Yes, it is.
So, and people don't, it's funny because I had this conversation when I was working a lot in Orange County, and they'd say, oh, well, so-and-so drives this kind of car and lives in this kind of a house. I'm like, yeah, well, so-and-so could be mortgaged up to his eyeballs. You have no idea.
Yeah.
But the trappings of wealth doesn't mean there's actual wealth there.
It's true. It's true. So anyway, I just thinking about all the folks that are struggling through right now. It's gonna be tough Christmas season.
So with that, let's take a break. I'm Erin Brinker.
And I'm Tobin Brinker.
And we are On the Brink, the morning show on KCAA. We'll be right back.
This is Dick from Carpet Masters. Carpet Masters has been serving the Inland Empire for over 55 years. Carpet Masters uses extraction cleaning for your carpet because there's no better cleaning to remove the soil from your carpet. All of our furniture cleaning is done by hand in your home or in our plant. Carpet Masters also offers dry cleaning for fine furniture. Call Carpet Masters at 793-7215. That's 793-7215 for Carpet Masters.
This is Joe Lyons. Riverside Municipal Airport would like to now welcome the dawn of a new year for us to look forward to.
As we enter this new year, we recall the words of Corrie ten Boom, who with her family helped many Jews escape the Nazi Holocaust. Worry does not empty tomorrow of its sorrow. It empties today of its strength. Let us resolve to turn away from worry and do the right thing with courage and conviction.
Riverside Municipal Airport welcomes a new year for America, the state of California, and the Inland Empire. Riverside's airport, itself a Civil Air Patrol site, works with 2 universities offering aviation degree programs, tower-controlled ILS, 6 flight schools, and an A&P school. Riverside Municipal Airport is proud to be an important part of the growing transportation demand of our area, and so wishes a heartfelt thank you as we enter this new year from Riverside Municipal Airport.
If you're looking for a full or part-time sales position and you have radio, TV, or print media experience, KCAA has a great opportunity waiting for you that pays the highest commissions in the market. KCAA is the only station in the IE that broadcasts on 3 frequencies, so advertisers receive 3 ads for 1 low rate. This makes KCAA a must-buy for every local business. If you're interested in a sales position with us, email CEO@kcaaradio.com.
KCAA invites you to join Dr. Donald Gabriel Jolly for What's It All About? He's never without words.
I have an opinion about everything.
He talks about everything.
You can say, I love you, and be fired by the power of the crotch instead of the real meaning of love. You have an illness. It is called terminal acute hornitis.
Join Dr. Jolly for What's It All About? 3 o'clock Wednesday afternoon on KCAA 1050 AM.
KCAA, where every day is a great day.
Welcome back. I'm Erin Brinker.
And I'm Tobin Brinker.
And we are On the Brink, the morning show on KCAA. And this is a little ska in the morning. A little English beat in the morning to get you waking. Awakened? Waking up. All right, Tobin.
Yes.
You just sent me something.
I did. So every year, Senator Rand Paul likes to do this deal where he highlights some of our government waste, and you know how they slip in these things into the bills that cost us a fortune, and they're pretty ridiculous. And so he does his sort of end of the year kind of ridiculous list, and there's some really
ridiculous.
Yes, exactly. And so the lead one on the list is The National Institute of Health, Aaron, gave $874,000.
$874,000.
Yes. After 6 years, to a researcher studying the sexual habits of quails. And not just any quails, Aaron. These quails have been artificially high on cocaine. Yes. They got the quails to snort some cocaine, and then they watched them have sex.
How do you get a quail to snort cocaine?
I don't know.
I imagine they would have to inject it, right?
$874,000 watching high quails get it on. Right? I'm wondering if we had to pay for like a mixtape of like,
Barry White.
Barry
No.
White.
Yes, right? Oh my gosh.
I'd like to see the itemized receipts for that one.
For
right? What were they doing there? Here's another one that might infuriate you just a little bit. Our U.S. aid, this is part of our foreign aid package, is spending $18 million to support Egyptian tourism.
What?
We want people to be tourists in Egypt, Aaron. We're spending $18 million to encourage people to visit Egypt as tourists. Yeah. Not exactly something that you'd think our government be spending a lot of money on. $18 million, though.
Wow.
The National Institute of Health, Aaron, spent almost $2.5 million to study daydreaming. They could have given me like $50.
Daydream believer and the homecoming queen.
They could have given me $50 and asked me to comment on my students who spend half their class daydreaming. I don't know. Give me a quick write, kids, on what you daydream about.
So, okay, I have to tell you, I am a daydreamer.
Yeah.
I live in my head. So, I think there are just some of us who are more likely to daydream than others.
What's that? Who's that?
Me.
Oh, you think you're more like? Why? Are
Would
you
you not listen to what I just said?
I did. I didn't understand. I'm having a hard time getting my head around what you said. Why are you more likely to daydream than other people?
I said I'm a daydreamer.
Yes.
I live in my head.
You do live in your head.
And I said some people are more likely to daydream than others. There are some people who don't live in their heads. They're very externally focused. I'm not. I've got I live in my head.
I've got a rich interior life myself, Aaron.
Good for you.
I do. I'm in my head right now.
I know you are. You're not listening.
I'm having a hard time here. Following along. The cheapest item on his list, Aaron, was clocked in a little under $100,000. It was $75,000, and it was to throw lizards around with a leaf blower. Yep. National Science Foundation spent $75,000 to blow leaf blowers at the lizards to see what would happen to them.
To see what the impact the leaf blowers have on lizard life?
I guess that's what they were studying. I'm not exactly sure what the leaf
Here's
blowers
the thought.
and the lizards.
Why don't you require the leaf blowing companies to donate to a fund that would study that?
I don't know, Aaron. This is the ridiculousness of our government. Some guy said, I need to have a job to do for the next year here. Let me write up a stupid grant and see if they'll be dumb enough to pay for it. And they did. and $75,000. You can buy a leaf blower for a lot less than that, Aaron.
Yeah, but it's all the research assistants and then the principal investigator and crunching all those numbers.
I know, right?
And
it's
counting the
ridiculous,
lizards. And you got to put the little. I don't know if they put them around their necks because that would be weird because they got the little pointy heads, or they put it around like an ankle, a little bracelet that tracks where those lizards go.
Yes.
And if it messes up their world, to be blown to the
Yes.
Off the little sidewalk with the leaf blower.
So the full report is available on Rand Paul's website, but it also includes $76 million, Aaron, for stipends for the Somali army, because we need to prop them up with $76 million. We also have $200,000 that's being used to put on dramatic works in Afghanistan for a little theater for the soldiers. Theater, dramatic works.
Well, I mean, okay. I don't necessarily have a problem with entertaining our troops.
I don't either.
They're out there doing a hard job.
I agree.
And I don't have a problem with that. So, and that all has to come from the defense budget. So, that I don't have a problem with.
Yeah.
Studying daydreaming, that's I don't understand that one.
Yeah.
And the leaf blower and the lizards, not really understanding that one either.
Every year when I see lists like this, though, I just kind of shake my head. I mean, you think back over the years, some of the stuff we've heard about. Remember the bridge to nowhere up in Alaska?
Yes. But that was when we had
earmarks.
Earmarks.
Yeah.
And we can't complain. In this area, we have no place to complain about earmarks anywhere else because Jerry Lewis was the earmark king.
He was.
We benefited so greatly from earmarks.
Loma Linda University Hospital got a ton of money over the years because of that, and other agencies
It's
did.
everywhere. We had soccer fields and
freeways,
parks and civic centers, and we benefited tremendously from earmarks.
We really did. We really did.
So we have we can't point to other people's earmarks and go, see, they threw that money away.
We can't?
No,
But
because
it's
back
fun.
back in the day, that was how your elected officials showed their worth, what kind of bacon they brought home to their district.
I never got to participate in a leaf blowing, whatever experiment.
Well, so write a stupid grant. Get into graduate school and write a stupid grant, and then you could get a stupid.
That would be kind of an interesting little experiment to see if you could come up with some really ridiculous thing and submit it, and just see if it got through. I'm wondering if someone's like has that contest going. You know what I mean?
No, well, I mean, part of it. I mean, like anything else, it's who you know, right?
Oh yeah.
So it's how many hands have you shaken? How many people do you know that can support what you're doing? How many?
Yeah.
And so it's not so easy that any random schmo could write the grant. It's a matter of the whole process.
It's just crazy though.
It is crazy. But haven't we all spent money on stupid things?
Yeah, it's funny. I think about my grandparents who have now passed, and one grandparent in particular, after he passed away, we went and cleaned out his house, and he was the king of tchotchkes. And any little thing where they would sell these or give away these little tchotchkes as a reward or prize for doing something, he would do it to get the little tchotchkes. And he had thousands of these, and I'm not really exaggerating, he had boxes filled with keychains and letter openers and any little thing that you could get as a freebie for going to a thing or signing up for a thing.
Well, he grew up in the Depression, so any free thing you have to hold on to, right?
And he kept them all. He had boxes of this stuff, Aaron. Grandpa Leo, right? And I remember when going through his house, and I was kind of like overwhelmed by the tchotchkes, And I didn't see him as being somebody who would be naturally sort of sucked into stuff, but I think he was drawn to the tchotchkes. He loved the tchotchkes.
Well, they were free.
They were free.
Right. We have, if you think about people who grew up in the Depression saved everything. I remember my grandmother washing out Ziploc bags and hanging them up, upside down so they could dry, and she would use them again. And aluminum foil, she would carefully spread it back out and fold it up, and it would go in the drawer.
Yeah.
So anybody who grew up in the Depression, they really knew what it meant not to have any money.
Yeah.
They were savers. Now our generations, baby boomers and Xers and millennials and we don't have that.
No.
We didn't have that experience, and we are much more wasteful. First of all, nothing came in plastic back then.
Yeah.
Back in the day, everything was either glass, or if it did, when it started coming out in plastic, it was expensive, right?
Yeah.
The Tupperware but now we just kind of toss everything away. And I would say that saving everything to the point of like putting a what do you call it, a handkerchief over your aluminum foil and kind of ironing it flat.
Mm-hmm.
I've seen that. That's a little over the top for me, but throwing everything away too is also not good because our landfills are full of junk.
Yeah.
So.
Well, and it's funny. I mean, you talk about the disposable lifestyle. I think about there's actually clothing stores now that they're literally designed to, the clothes will only last you a season. I mean, the clothing is so thin and whatever, and it falls apart, and you're designed to go back in, and they sell it so cheaply.
Yes.
You know?
It's true. I have purchased clothes. Yes, and they shrink up like crazy and they fade really fast.
But I mean, even our clothing now has become sort of a disposable item that you wear it once or twice and then it's done and you're onto the new thing. And it's so cheap, you're like, okay, I can do that.
So with that, let's take a break. I'm Erin Brinker.
And I'm Tobin Brinker.
And we are on the Brink, the morning show on KCAA. We'll be right back.
KCAA Loma Linda, 1050 AM, K292 FQ Riverside, and K293 CF Moreno Valley.
It's time to take a look at our roadways here on KCAA and KQLH. In Hesperia on the 15 southbound at the 395 at Joshua, an accident has been cleared. Slow traffic is backed up from Joshua Street. In Lake Arrowhead on Highway 18, both eastbound and westbound between the 173 and Big Bear Boulevard, all motorists should have chains or four-wheel drive for the mountains. They should carry chains or have four-wheel drive to travel the Lake Arrowhead and Big Bear region. That's highways 18, 38, and 173, and parts of the 330, and continue to expect slippery, hazardous conditions. This has been your traffic report. I'm Erin Brinker. This report is brought to you by In-N-Out Burger. At In-N-Out, there's no room for compromise in a quality burger. No frozen patties and only the freshest ingredients. That's what a hamburger is all about. This is KCAA.
NBC News Radio, I'm Phil Hewlett. President Trump isn't giving any ground in his fight over ending the partial government shutdown. On Trump's surprise visit to troops in Iraq yesterday, a reporter asked how long he thinks the shutdown will last. He answered, whatever it takes. The president repeated, any spending bill must include funding for a border wall. Homeland Security Secretary Kirstjen Nielsen is headed to the U.S.-Mexico border after a second migrant child died in federal custody. An 8-year-old Guatemalan boy died Wednesday after falling ill. Severe weather alerts are out in parts of the southeast today. Cold air from the north will mix with moisture from the Gulf of Mexico, bringing heavy rain and severe thunderstorms from the southern plains to the Mississippi Valley. An Oregon man is the first person to complete a solo trek across Antarctica. Colin O'Brady of Portland finished the historic journey yesterday. The 33-year-old started his 54-day trek in November and posted updates on Instagram. Phil Hewlett, NBC News Radio.
From the KCAA Weather Center, I'm Alvin Washington. Partly cloudy this morning, high 58. Clear this evening, low 40. Sunshine Friday, high at 54. Clear Friday night, low 32. Windy, 58 Saturday. I'm Alvin Washington, broadcasting live from the Tri-City Center at the 10 and 210 freeways. We are the trifecta of talk in Southern California, KCAA, 102.3 FM, Riverside, 106.5 FM, Redlands, and the Legacy 1050 AM, Loma Linda, San Bernardino.
Disney on Ice presents Dare to Dream, where I can chase adventure like Maui and Moana. Anna proves family is forever, and I can dream big with the Disney princesses. And Disney on Ice presents Dare to Dream.
Playing at Citizens Business Bank Arena this Wednesday through Sunday, December 30th. Coming to Long Beach Arena next week. For additional show details and to purchase tickets, visit Ticketmaster.com today.
Drivers, when it's time to visit the DMV, avoid the long lines and save time by calling toll-free 833-DMV-LINE. That's 833-DMV-5463.
This is KCAA.
Wasting away in paradise, going backwards once in a while, taking your time, give it a try. What do you believe? What do you believe? What do you believe is true?
Welcome back. I'm Erin Brinker.
And I'm Tobin Brinker.
And we are on The Brink, the morning show on KCAA, AM 1050, FM 106.5, and FM 102.3. I'm excited to welcome back to the show Dr. John Huber. He is the chairman for Mainstream Mental Health, a nonprofit organization that brings lasting and positive change to the lives of individuals that suffer from mental health issues. A mental health professional for over 20 years, Dr. Huber is a clinical forensic psychologist, and he's a practitioner with privileges at 2 long-term acute care hospitals. Dr. Huber has appeared on over 300 top-tier radio shows, NBC, CBS, Fox News, radio, all 30 national television, and 30 national television programs on NBC, Spectrum, and Spectrum News. Dr. Huber is a Laws News go-to clinical psychologist and appears regularly on America Trends national television show. He joins us once a month to talk about mental health issues and the news. Dr. Huber, welcome to the show.
Well, Erin, Tobin, Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to you too. How was your holiday? Do you celebrate Christmas? And if so, how was it?
It was really good, and I finished it off, and my daughter and we went out, spent the evening looking for coyotes out at the ranch in the deer lease, and had such a blast. We didn't see anything, but it was so good to get out, and my 13-year-old daughter was just amazing out there.
Oh, how fun! We have tons of coyotes here.
Well, we always do there until we look for them, and then they.
Yes. Well, they're kind of they like to be hidden. Yeah, it's kind of you have to sit somewhere and wait for them. So, this time of year is when you see endless. First of all, the ads for the gyms have already started. You see endless New Year's resolutions, and most people have two. The two. I think my guess is anecdotally what I think the 2 top resolutions that people make are: I want to lose weight and I want to get out of debt or manage my money better. So you go to the gym in January and it's always packed, but by February it's back to normal.
Exactly. So wait till February to get your membership.
Exactly. So what is the psychology of this, and why does it never work?
Well, the problem is when we make these resolutions, we never do it right. We get really flighty and lofty, and we think we want to do, we want to make these resolutions like losing weight. I want to lose 100 pounds. I want to lose 90 pounds. Well, the first thing we got to do is we got to be realistic. And these resolutions can be very healthy for us, or they can be unhealthy for us. Because if we do that and make a lofty goal that is really unrealistic, and we don't make it, then we start believing that we really don't have the ability to make any changes. If we do it right, and let's say we want to really lose weight, well, what's a healthy amount, and how can we do that? So first thing you need to do is why would you do it? You want to lower your cholesterol. You want to lower your blood pressure. So you look at what it would really take to do that. And let's say you weigh 200 pounds. You want to lose 10% of your weight. That can have a significant impact over a year in your blood pressure. So you only want to really shoot for that 20 pounds. Now let's make a plan for that. If I do that, what I need to do is I need to start eating smaller portions. I don't necessarily need to change my diet. And here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to reduce my intake. I'm going to make sure every meal I leave food on my plate. That's a real simple goal you could do. I'm going to leave food on my plate. Now, let's do the gym thing. I'm going to go to the gym, and I'm going to make sure I go to the gym at least 3 times a week. That's a lot simpler than saying I'm going to lose 100 pounds, and it's much more attainable, both of those things. Always leave food on your plate and go to the gym 3 times a week. Now, it sounds kind of crazy, but those are doable goals as opposed to that 100 pounds.
Well, and it's interesting because during the holidays, business slows down, unless you're in retail. Business slows down, and you have a little more time. And this is the trap that I fall into. Number one, I've overeaten for a month, and I feel gross.
Oh, yeah.
And if the thought of walking away from food sounds really pretty awesome right now, and because it's just been one party after another, and I think, wow, I've got time. time. I'm going to go work out. And then life gets back to life. And all of a sudden, I no longer have as much time, and I'm not eating like crazy. As a matter of fact, I get pretty hungry. And so, then it's like, oh, this is really hard. There's no way I can juggle all of this. Or you just lose track of it. And, but the little goals, making it little, breaking it up into, little steps at a time seems like it's much more doable.
It's much more doable. And then what I want you to do is I want you to write down those weekly goals, not the annual goal. I want to write down the weekly goals. Go to the gym 3 times every week. Leave food on your plate every time you eat. Those 2 things. And write them down. You write them down, they make them real. They make them concrete in your mind. That's one of the reasons why we have written contracts and we just don't shake hands anymore, because it makes it real. And you make those goals real, you'll manifest them, you'll do them, you'll follow through with them.
It makes me think of Tobin, my husband here, who not this past year because he had an injury in the beginning of the year, but the year before, he ran 1,000 miles, and he bought this big poster where he could mark down each time he ran. And Tobin, you want to talk about that?
Yeah, I broke it down into those shorter, smaller goals, and so I posted it up in my classroom. I'm a school teacher, and I had the kids help me keep me accountable to my goals, And I would talk to them about the days that I struggled and the things that were making it hard for me, and what I was going to do if I knew that I had something coming up that was going to make it hard to make my goal for that week. Like if some family event was going to occur that would take time away from running. And I used it as a way to teach my students about setting goals, but it also helped keep me very accountable.
Well, and that's the third step, and that's what I would say next is do it publicly with people who care about you, and not people who are going to demean you and belittle you if you don't make a weekly goal, but people who are going to encourage you. And classroom, I taught for 21 years. I understand your students. It's amazing how you think, oh, they could be really, really tough on you, but at the same time, they actually do want to see you succeed, and they help you do those types of things.
Yeah, the kids were great. I teach middle school, and that can be a really fun age. The kids haven't had those life experiences yet, and so all this stuff is still kind of new to them. And they kind of become your support network in a way. At least they did for me, and they want to see you be successful in that stuff. They think that's kind of cool,
It is very cool, and that's a great way to do it. In fact, the fourth thing I would say is do it with somebody else. Somebody else who wants to run 1,000 miles. Do that. Somebody who else wants to lose some weight, wants to go to the gym more regularly, and you have a partner in crime. And my wife and I have when we lived in Miami, we both were like, wow, look how out of shape we've gotten. And we got together and started doing the target together. And it was amazing how we support each other, and we both were able to lose weight and keep it off.
So what happens, let's talk about the psychology of failure for a minute, because any weight loss journey, you're going to have failures. And the people who succeed versus the people who don't are the ones who can recover from those failures and keep moving forward.
Well, and that is exactly right. When you do something like that, you have to start looking at it kind of like traders look on the stock market. The stock market, since it's opened up, has always trended up over time, not every single day and every single week. So if we look at that and we realize that there are days, weeks, sometimes months where you pull back, and then it recovers and starts building on itself again. We have to realize that that's kind of the way we are. As long as we're consistent, we still do the actions, we will get caught up and we will trend that way. And if we get caught up in the failure and look at it as this is a failure instead of, hey, things aren't working right, what happened this week? Why am I doing it differently this week than I did the week before? And make adjustments for that. We can learn from it. That failure then becomes a lesson. And lessons are really important for our success and continued success. If you get caught up in the failure side of it, you don't look for the lesson, you're going to just keep repeating that failure side of it, and it becomes a spiral, and you eventually just give up.
So what about people who are, where time is a real issue? So getting to the gym is a problem because, they work a lot or have very young children at home or that sort of thing. Talk about that psychology a bit and let me preface again by saying, for women, I think, I'm not sure, but I can't speak. I've never been a man. But for women, often you put your children's needs, your family's needs, your husband's needs in front of your own needs. And so as you get bogged down with all of the stressors of life, you put yourself last, get to the end of the day and think, oh my goodness, I didn't have time to do anything today. And I had a Danish for breakfast because, I was up early or whatever. What about that?
Well, that's interesting because, I mentioned when we were in Miami, and my wife and I were both very busy and amazingly busy, and we're like, when can we do this? And we both realized that, we were losing our momentum every day about mid-afternoon, 3:30, 4 o'clock, and we just couldn't make those last couple of hours and be productive in it. So the only time we had was in the morning, and we got up early in the morning. Actually, we would get up about 5:30 every morning and go and do that. And it sounded like, oh my God, we're going to kill ourselves. We don't make it through the day as it is. But getting up that extra time and doing that for ourselves, we no longer ran out of steam mid-morning. We made it through the day and then through the evening. And so we actually created more time for ourselves by making time in the morning. Instead of getting an extra 30 or 40 minutes of sleep, we got up and started right then. And then when we went to bed at night, we were tired and we would fall asleep, so it helped our sleep cycle. And it was hard to adjust, but again, doing it with a partner really helped a lot. And but once we got that rhythm going, and sometimes one of us was dragging the other one out of bed. I mean, it was just like, come on, we got to do this. If we don't do it, it's not going to happen today.
And if you lose momentum, it's if you fall off the horse, it's hard to get back on.
Oh yes, very hard. That's why we like to do those small steps 3 times this week. Did I make it to the gym? That kind of thing.
So we are just about out of time. Let people know about Mainstream Mental Health and how they can reach you if they want to learn more about it.
If you want to learn more about Mainstream Mental Health, there's 2 simple ways. The first one is go to mainstreammentalhealth.org. And sometimes it's kind of hard to remember that. So the other way is at drpsycho.org, drpsycho.org. You can find out about our team, and everybody there is volunteer. And we do all this without any kind of compensation. And it's really moving when we get feedback from people, and I appreciate any kind of support we can get that way.
Well, I giggle every time you say drpsycho.org. I think it's an absolutely fantastic URL web address, and it's always a treat to have you on. Thank you so much for joining us once a month throughout this year, and I look forward to talking to you once a month next year.
Awesome. Well, I'm excited, Aaron and Tobin. Good to have you both on, and I actually talked to both of you this time.
Yeah. Well, thank you. Happy New Year. And Dr. John Huber, check him out at mainstreammentalhealth.org or drpsycho.org. So it's time for a break. I'm Erin Brinker.
And I'm Tobin Brinker.
And we are on the Brink, the morning show on KCAA. We will be right back.
Disney on Ice presents Dare to Dream, where I can chase adventure like Maui and Moana. Anna Proof's family is forever, and I can dream big with the Disney princesses.
And Disney on Ice presents Dare to Dream.
Playing at Citizens Business Bank Arena this Wednesday through Sunday, December 30th. Coming to Long Beach Arena next week. For additional show details and to purchase tickets, visit Ticketmaster.com today.
Hi, I'm David Abrams, owner of Grand Jewelers Pawn and Loan, and for over 57 years, we've been advising and guiding our clients about buying and selling karat gold jewelry, diamonds, coins, and high-grade watches. If you've been thinking about selling your jewelry, now is your opportunity to liquidate those pieces and put your newfound cash to work for you. Or perhaps you want to repurpose those diamonds that you inherited from your family. If you don't know whom to trust when it comes to liquidating your jewelry assets or redesigning those tired pieces, turn to Grand Jewelers Pawn and Loan in Rancho Cucamonga. We're professionals in the jewelry industry with over 110 years of combined expertise and knowledge, and we will empower you with the knowledge that will enable you to make the best decision about repurposing those old diamonds or liquidating your jewelry. Grand Jewelers Pawn and Loan is located in the Signature Center, Rancho Cucamonga, and we're open till 6 p.m. Monday through Saturdays and 5 p.m. on Sundays. Check us out on Yelp and Google. We're a 5-star rated family business, and we'd love to get to know you. Grand Jewelers, located in the Signature Center, Rancho Cucamonga.
Are you having trouble sleeping? Are you always tired and worn out? Is it affecting your work and personal life? Well, South Pacific Sleep Lab can help you out. South Pacific Sleep Lab provides a personal study of your sleep patterns. With their trained specialists, they will diagnose your sleep habits and will give you a prognosis for getting a great relaxing night of sleep. South Pacific Sleep Lab has locations throughout Southern California, including Fontana, and will provide transportation to any of their locations at no cost to you. To find out more, give them a call at 844-SAD-5050. That's 844-SAD-5050. South Pacific Sleep Lab. Start resting easy and sleeping sound today.
We can't be everything to everyone, or can we? The station that leaves no listener behind, KCAA.
Welcome back. I'm Erin Brinker.
And I'm Tobin Brinker.
And we are on The Brink, the morning show on KCAA, AM 1050, FM 106.5, and FM 102.3. I always enjoy Dr. Huber's segments.
Yes.
You know, and he said, because I just talked to him as, you know, after when we were on break, I talked to him, and he enjoyed the fact that you jumped in this time because you usually don't. So it was nice having you be part of the discussion.
Yeah, you know, it's he's an interesting guy. You know, it's funny, he's got the Dr. Psycho moniker, but he really is like this very level-headed. He kind of reminds me of Dr. Phil without the Texas accent, right? He's very sort of common sense approach to
indeed
how we deal with the issues that are facing us in our life.
Indeed, and the whole mission of mainstream mental health is to reduce the stigma attached to mental illness, right? Because if somebody suffers from bipolar disorder, if somebody suffers from major depression, if somebody has a mental illness, they didn't cause that. I mean, it's not any more their fault than it is if, you know, your family has a history of heart disease or high cholesterol or whatever. You know, it's just a part of their experience, and with the stigma removed, then people can then deal with their problem, deal with their issue, deal with their challenges in the open, which is a much healthier way to deal with it.
Yeah, I agree.
Because secrets make things worse.
I keep no secrets. It's all out there.
Yes. Yeah. Yes, you do.
I'm an oversharer.
Tobin has a tendency to overshare. That's why I'm giggling.
Yes.
So, did you hear the story about the president talking to the seven-year-old little girl about whether she still believed in Santa?
So I heard something about it, but I think I got it mixed up.
Okay, what he said is that it's kind of marginal for you to still believe when you're 7.
Yeah, so that's kind of what I heard, but that seems so rude. I couldn't imagine him saying that to a 7-year-old.
Actually said that. Yes. Yes. So he said, "Are you still a believer in Santa?" This is on Fox News, so you know that they are pro-Trump. "Are you still a believer in Santa?" asked Trump. I'm quoting this. Who listened to a minute on this phone call before adding, because who listened to a minute before adding, because at 7, it's marginal, right? And then he concluded the call with, you just go enjoy yourself. He was talking to a 7-year-old. 7-year-olds, I mean, at this point in the year, a 7-year-old could be a first grader or a second grader, depending on when their birthday is.
Yes.
And, these are little kids. They're little at 7.
Wow. I know, right? And of course, the way this happened, the girl had called NORAD, that Santa tracker number that they have. And the president, of course, had made prearranged, his people made arrangements so that he could talk to a kid. This would typically be sort of a normal kind of a thing that a president would do to sort of build goodwill at the Christmas season, But then to say something like that to a little 7-year-old.
So it makes me think, how did he treat his kids growing up? Because they're all very obedient.
Yeah.
So how did he treat his kids growing up? And I think we've gotten an indication if he'll say this, and he knows it's on camera. And that's kind of harsh for a 7-year-old.
Yeah. There's been I don't know if I call it a meme, but a thing posted on social media that I really liked, talking about how to talk to your kids when they get to that age where they start to say Santa isn't real anymore. And the thing basically said where the parent would say to the kid something along the lines of, I'm Santa, I'm the Santa, and now you're Santa too, right? And the reason we do this is to keep the spirit alive for the younger kids.
Okay, you're Santa too. That would be confusing to the
sort
kid.
Of you bring the kid into the adult conspiracy of Santa.
Yeah, well, you need to go to bed because Santa's got to put your presents under the tree.
Yeah.
I mean, and you can. For us, I totally let it slip.
Yeah.
It was an accident. Alex and I, our son and I, were talking about a book that we were reading. Maybe it was Harry Potter. I don't even remember. No, it was younger than Harry Potter. And I let it slip that Santa Claus was not real, and the look on his face was like, oh, I think he was 5. And like, oh my God. I'm like, oh God, it's out. And of course, the cat was out of the bag. There wasn't anything I can do about it.
Yeah.
And we talked about it and we laughed, and he still got Santa gifts. And anyway.
I take it all back about Trump. You were even crueler. 5, Aaron?
It was an accident. It just came out.
You crushed him at 5?
I didn't crush him.
That explains so much about our son.
Would you stop?
Wow. That's devastating.
But I didn't do it ridiculing him.
No, I know.
There was no ridicule.
No.
I was reading a book to him, and it must have had like Christmas, like Santa Claus, Father Christmas, whatever in it, and then I just let it slip. But he might remember what I said, but I don't remember what I said.
Wow.
Oops.
The things we do, parenting is tough.
Yeah.
Parenting is tough because you try to sort of game plan or pre-plan for some of those moments, and they never really come out the way you want them to.
No.
They never do.
No, but it's it's once it happens, then you just use that as a time to explain that we have traditions because they're fun and we love you and we're just giving you more gifts. And
so, one of our family traditions is to give books at Christmas.
Yes,
and we have these 2 African exchange students that are living with us, and their English is improving, but they're still very sort of limited English.
Well, they've been with us a month and a half.
Yeah, and I bought them books, and yesterday one of the girls came out. And I told her, I said, I want to give you this book, and I'd like for us to read it together. So I can read some to you, and you can read some to me. And she came out yesterday morning, and she wanted to read her book with me. And so we sat on the couch, and we read for probably half an hour, 45 minutes. And it was really, really fun.
I bet it was.
And this is a 19-year-old girl,
But she's not, obviously not a native English speaker. She's from Mali, which is in West Africa.
But she speaks 2 languages already, 3 actually, if you count English. And she did quite well with the reading, and we would stop and talk about what we just read, and I love doing that. I just loved doing that with our own kids when they were little, and it just brought back those memories for me. It was really kind of a nice thing.
That is a nice thing. So with that, we're at the end of our show for today. I'm Erin Brinker,
and I'm Tobin Brinker,
and we are On the Brink, the morning show on KCAA. Have a great day, everyone.
Sweetness, I was only joking when I said I'd like to mash every tooth in your head. Oh, sweetness, I was only joking
KCAA Loma Linda, 1050 AM, 106.5 FM, and now 102.3 FM.
I'm John Lesher, CNBC. The futures are suggesting a lower opening on Wall Street, with volatility continuing even after Wednesday's huge gains. The number of first-time applications for jobless benefits fell by 1,000 last week. It's an encouraging sign that the volatility on Wall Street is having little effect on employment. Among stocks to watch today, J.P. Morgan Chase, which will pay $135 million to settle SEC claims that it improperly handled transactions involving shares of foreign companies. CBS, after an analyst reiterated a buy recommendation. And Apple, whose big supplier Foxconn may start making higher-end iPhones in 2019 in India. This would be a manufacturing first for Foxconn. U.S.-China trade talks are to resume in early January, but President Trump is still insisting he'll slap big tariffs on Chinese goods if a deal isn't done in 90 days. John Lesher, CNBC.
The national debt is now over $20 trillion. What happens next? Rising inflation drops in the dollar's value. Some experts say another crash is coming. You can fight this, not with stocks or bonds, but with gold and silver coins in an IRA from Augusta Precious Metals. Call 855-858-5807 and learn how an IRA backed by physical gold and silver can hedge against inflation. Call Augusta Precious Metals right now at 855-858-5807 and get a free gold IRA guide. Call 855-858-5807.
At Anytime Fitness, we know that healthy doesn't happen on its own.
But together, we can make healthy happen.
With the right help.
In the right ways.
With an ally who listens.
With coaching and team workouts.
To get you to your healthier place.
Anytime Fitness. Let's make healthy happen.
January 1st through 11th, join for $1 and get a free Jumpstart training package with a coach, valued at $100. Visit myhealthyhappens.com.